I'm basically going to tell you my story right now. Hello lovely humans, I hope you are doing wonderful today. This video is really important to me because I'm going to be talking about living in a place of light. Yes, living a light lifestyle, and I don't mean weight-wise, I mean light energy. I talk about light energy a lot, especially on my Instagram where I do my nightly posts. In each video, I usually talk about ways to harness light energy and to kind of shift our focus and our mindset to live each day in a space of light. But what does that mean? So I kind of realized that I never really specified that, so I thought doing a video explaining it, explaining how I discovered light energy. It's a term that a lot of people are familiar with, but for me, it means something very specific that I kind of came up with on my own. So I want to share that with all of you guys, kind of explain it a little bit more, and hopefully I could shed some light onto what living in a light mindset really means. I have Uni with me today. She is my oldest friend. And in a way, I wanted to bring her because she represents my childhood and my innocence. And in a way, that's kind of what light energy is. When we're kids, we all live in a space of light naturally. We wake up every day and we just feel wonder and excitement. So let me share with you the definition of light energy. Light energy is walking outside and seeing the magic in anything. It's waking up and looking in the mirror and feeling amazing just to be you. It's being able to just live and breathe and feel thankful for having the ability to breathe, having your brain, your heart, your mind, your unique self. It's looking at each new situation with excitement and wonder and knowing that you have the ability to do anything. It's simply just feeling amazing about things and feeling alive and feeling good to feel alive. Now, that sounds great, right? Sometimes as adults, we kind of lose the ability to do that. And why does that happen? Well, because of stress, because of anxieties, because of letdowns, disappointments, insecurities, and none of those things need to exist. But sometimes in this crazy, hectic life, we fall into a pattern and we can't help that. So I'm going to share with you guys my story of how I decided and kind of discovered that we can actually shift our brains to change our lives. I was going through a period of depression for, I would say, maybe about 3 years. And I didn't really realize that I was depressed until it was too late. I kind of developed really negative habits in terms of health and routine. I wasn't making decisions that were healthy for me, but over time I didn't realize that what I was doing was unhealthy because it just felt so routine. And eventually, I was at a really low point, and I realized that my daily routines and my habits were kind of just things I was doing to help me get through my life and help me get through my days, but I wasn't enjoying my days. I was just kind of like trying to skip through them. It almost felt like my life was just passing me by, and I was kind of just going through the motions and not really taking the time to sit there and absorb what was in front of me. And one day, I remember I kind of just looked in the mirror and I didn't really know who I was anymore. Like, I didn't see myself. Like, I knew it was me, but looking at me, I didn't really feel connected to myself. I felt like a whole different person. And I remembered when I was a kid, when I was young, I just had so much ambition and I was so excited about everything and I had such a big imagination and I went for my dreams and I believed in myself. And yeah, I had like some anxiety issues and social anxiety as a kid, a lot. It was bad. But at the same time, like when I was like a really little kid, guys, like I'm talking like young, before all of, you know, the puberty and the embarrassment and the insecurities and all those things happened before that. When we're kids, we feel invincible. And I was one of those kids before I started having anxiety in like middle school. So I remembered that day that when I was a kid, I was always happy and excited and I always felt great and I just felt like the world was magical. I did. And I was like, I'm still that person. I might be that same girl grown up now, but I'm still her. So where is that girl? And I decided that I needed to make a change. And that's when I figured out that I need to change my mindset. So I made the choice to cut out the bad things I was doing in my life. I made the choice to find things each day to focus on, new things to make me feel better. And if you feel like you want to live in a place of light, which is where I live now, all you have to do, the first step, is to realize that you want to make a change. Sometimes you gotta hit a rock bottom. That's kind of what happened with me. If you feel like you don't recognize yourself anymore, this kind of like what I talked about in an earlier video, but if you feel like you need to make a change, if you feel like things are off, if you feel distanced from yourself, then you can. And that's the first step. And the first step is a huge one. But once you get past that first step, then you can move on to the second step, which is learning how to transition your life so you live in a place of light. So, uni, how do we do that? I will tell you, guys, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make my stuffed animals talk. I might be crazy bringing all my stuffed animals into these videos as a grown adult, but I am not going to do that to you. I'm not that talented. But Uni's cute though, right? I mean, she's very loved. The next step is choosing how you're going to do that. So how do we live in a place of light? We need go-to activities. These activities save us. So if you have a routine that you feel is unhealthy, find other things you could do that are healthier options. These are just things that bring you back to a mental space where you feel recharged, re-energized, and you kind of like remind yourself why you want to live in a place of light. So some of my activities are doing these videos, drawing my cartoons, recording music, blogging, even watching certain shows that I go to and playing certain video games that I go to. I do the same ones over and over again. If I'm feeling tempted to be depressed or do something negative, I go to my go-to activities. I actually have a list of them. So make a list of them because they are your tools, your survival tools. The second thing is writing down how you feel in certain headspaces. So write down when you feel really happy and in a place of light, you're gonna know it because you're gonna kind of feel the same excitement and wonderment that you felt as a kid. It'll come back, and it does come back. And when you start doing things that are better for you, you start to get back in that headspace, and it's a great feeling. I remember when I started to feel happy again for the first time, I was like, wow, I forgot that I could feel like this. I forgot that I could have a good time just hanging out and being in the moment. I forgot that I could have fun just like walking around outside and looking at the flowers. Like, I forgot how to have actual genuine fun. And that brings me to my next point. The first key is to figuring out your go-to activities, and these are things that just make you feel good. The second is learning how to live in the moment, because being in a place of light is about appreciating the moment. It's about separating yourself from the stress, worrying about tomorrow, worrying about the next day, worrying about the past. You have to learn how to separate yourself from that, and that is how to appreciate the moment. So first, get used to appreciating what's around you. If you're sitting in your room, look around your room and think, oh, you know what? I always liked this picture. What does this remind me of? Look outside if you're outside. Find something in nature that always speaks to you. Getting in a light place is really connected to nature. I use nature a lot to help remind me of how beautiful the world is and how we should all be happy about that. So just become aware of your surroundings and practice being more in the moment. So the third step, honestly, is routine. You need a routine that you do every day, and you can't give up on it. So I talked a lot, especially on my Instagram, I talk many times about the 2-minute meditations that I do every day. I found that the easiest way to keep me on a path of living in a light headspace was keeping up with my routines no matter what. Even if I felt crappy one day, I would still do it. And it's like a sense of accomplishment. It's kind of like, oh wow, you know what? I didn't let myself down. I didn't give up. I felt kind of bad, but I still did this one thing that I know is healthy and makes me feel good, and that's good. And you just have to do it. And the more you do it, the more it's gonna feel like a big part of your life. And instead of the negative habits being a big part, the new routine will become a bigger part of your life. And then before you know it, it'll be like just normal, and it'll just feel natural. And before you know it, you'll be doing natural good things for you. So for me, every single night I do my Instagram video and I do a 2-minute meditation where I just kind of imagine all of the positive things I want to come into my life, and I'm also grateful for the things I have. And then I do an activity that I enjoy, a relaxing, nice activity. I do this every day without fail. And if I skip a day, I actually feel bad, guys. Like, I do. So make sure you find your routine. How do we save ourselves when we're doing well and we start to fall backwards? Because guys, trust me, I fall backwards a lot. I do well living in my light headspace, and sometimes I fall off the bandwagon, and you know what? It happens to the best of us. But this is how you save yourself. Remind yourself why you started in the first place. Why did you want to live in a place of light? Why did you want to develop a positive attitude? Why did you choose to become an optimist? Rewire yourself and remind yourself, because we know when we're falling off track. We know ourselves better than anyone on the planet knows ourselves. You know yourself better than your family, your significant other, your siblings, your pets. You know yourself the best. And when you feel like you're falling off the bandwagon, just take a deep breath, stop in your tracks, and remind yourself, why did I make this choice? And you will suddenly bring back the feelings of when you first started choosing to change your life. And that's all we have to do. Sometimes we gotta recharge our batteries. We have to reprogram ourselves, and that is totally normal. So just remember these steps, guys. The first step is to choose to live in a place of light, and then choose your go-to activities. The second step is to learn how to live in the moment and do it as often as possible. The third step is to have a routine that you never skip. And the fourth step is, if you fall behind, remind yourself why you did it in the first place and start over, because we always can. Living in a light headspace has saved me, and I think it could save anybody. I think the power of positivity is the most powerful energy on the planet. I do. And I want everyone to give it a try. So that's my story, guys. I hope I helped out some of you. I hope I explained a little bit what I mean by living in a light headspace. If any of you were curious, on my Instagram, it's just Kelly True Thoughts on Instagram. I do a 1-minute video each night giving positive motivation and giving a little bit of advice on how you can help yourself think positively in all different situations. So if you need a little pick-me-up, check it out. And I love chatting with you guys today, and I will see you next time. Stay lovely.